I know what you want. I know why you came here. I've been waiting for you a long time. You heard something, a story maybe, or you met someone with a number on his arm. Someone who said a few words that made you curious. Frightening words, ugly words. Words like ghetto, gas chamber, crematoria. Words about death. Words about corpses. Words that wipe out the very idea of living human beings. Once, there was a big city like Paris or New York, where a lot of different people lived, like anywhere else. And it was a culture place with a symphony and an opera and lots of elegant restaurants and cafes. I even sang in a choir there. The audience would dress up in gowns and tuxedos. And then one day, that city turned into a jungle and disappeared. Now once, there was a large group of people that lived in the city. They had their own schools, newspapers, hospitals, theaters, political parties, even a language that was just theirs. And then one day, those people turned into ghosts and disappeared. Don't ask me why it happened, because I don't know. Don't ask me how it happened. When you're fighting for your life, you don't have time to look around. Better ask me what happened, because that I can tell you. This is a story, but no one made it up. It's unbelievable, but every word is true. It happened to so many people who never lived to tell about it. It happened to me, and I did. I was 15 then, and I'm 15 now. For the rest of my life, I'll be 15. Nothing before and nothing after. Just that same year, day after day, when I was 15. This is a story about a group of kids. They were my friends. And the last time we were together, we made a vow. If one of us lived, he'd tell what happened. If one of us made it out, he'd see to it that people would know.
So what the hell are you waiting for? A golden engraved invitation?
I see their faces at night. I hear their voices all day.
Or the Messiah, maybe? Haven't you heard? He's in permanent hiding, too ashamed to show his face.
I walk down the street, and they're there.
Congratulations. It's about time you opened your mouth. If I were in your place, I would have come through a long time ago.
Yonkala, Rudy, Lutek.
Tell about the Jew hunter in the Christian market. He pulled a knife on us. We pulled 4 knives on him.
Sevek, Hella, Mala, Helena. Just kids. 14, 15-year-old kids.
Tell about the milk. It was easier to get gold than a glass of milk.
Kids who died. Kids who disappeared without a trace. Kids who you never heard of.
Tell about the smuggling.
Kids who just happened to be my sister, my girlfriend, and my best friends.
Tell them we fought back.
This is a story that lives in the present. A history that won't stay in the past. A memory. My life.
So talk already. You want a memory? The day they announced the ghetto? Shit, didn't even know what a ghetto was.
The day we all had to move. 400,000 people crammed in like sardines.
The day they put up the goddamn wall, and suddenly we lived in a goddamn zoo.
This is a story about growing up fast.
Tell them how we used to make love, anywhere we could.
About losing your innocence overnight.
On the roof, in the bunker, in the cattle car.
About forgetting the past and avoiding the future.
We thought every time was the last time.
About turning your will to live into a weapon to survive.
Tell how we learned the Catholic Mass and wore little crosses around our necks so they wouldn't know we were Jews.
Tell how we were crowded, 12 in a room, with no plumbing, so we used to have to hang out on the street all day.
Tell how there was no electricity, no coal, no telephone, no radio, no connection to the outside world.
This was a master plan to wipe me, my family, my friends, and every other Jew off the face of this earth.
Tell about the whippings.
They killed 6 million before it was all over.
The starvation.
Over 1 million were kids.
The typhoid.
1 million
The selections.
dead.
The deportations.
Kids. And now, there's nobody left but me.
line. They picked out an old fianted Jew, surrounded him, spat on him, and with several well-aimed punches, knocked him into the gutter. Tell us, you Jew of Badstead, one asked politely, who caused the war? The old man, who had learned a few things over the years, looked up from the ground and answered, the Jews? The Germans laughed until they had to hold each other up, and then the second one asked, and who causes typhoid, syphilis, and every other filthy disease? The Jews, the old man answered again, but then he added, and the taxi drivers. The German stopped, looking puzzled. The taxi drivers? Why the taxi drivers? The old man shrugged and looked up at them. Why the Jews?
The wall was 9 feet high, topped with barbed wire and glass. Every 100 feet, Germans stood guard with machine guns and dogs. Thousands of other Jews were crammed inside with us from other towns, but only a select few with special permits were allowed out, officially. A Jew had to take off his hat and step in the gutter when a German walked by, and could be arrested or tortured for making bribes or offering deals, officially. The food ration in the ghetto was 250 calories a day, and any Jew caught on the Aryan side or smuggling in food was automatically shot. Every day, hundreds of kids took off their armbands, climbed the walls, jumped the streetcars, bribed the police, shopped in the Christian markets, and stuffed their boots, pants, shirts, pockets, even their caps with sugar, barley, salamis, and bread. We were too hungry to be afraid.
Stop treating me like I'm a baby. I'm 13 years old and perfectly capable of catching a silly little knapsack. And besides, ever since they closed the schools, I have nothing to do all day. I'm bored.
My sister Hella wanted to help me. I never forced her. When she first asked, I said no. It was bad enough that I was smuggling without risking her life too, but once Papa's business was confiscated, I decided to give her a chance. I needed her. Ready? Go!
That was impossible. No one could have caught that.
This job requires the impossible. I'll be on a moving streetcar, so I can't guarantee perfect aim. Go!
I'm sorry. Do it again.
You have to run faster. Now keep your eye on the knapsack and run. Now!
Jacek, you did that on purpose. Did you have to throw it so hard?
If you think that was too hard, how do you expect to catch it when it's full of potatoes? Good. Again.
This will really help, won't it? I mean, if I catch the knapsack, then I can bring over more food.
Sure. Back up a little.
Do they still have movies on the Aryan side?
Sure.
And puppet shows in Krasinski Gardens?
I don't know. I never get that far. No, I'm going to fill this with rocks, and when you catch it, pull it close to your body so it doesn't drop.
I wish we had a park in the ghetto. I bet there are lots of flowers in Saxon Gardens right now. Tulips. I like tulips, don't you?
They're all right.
After the war, I'd like to visit Holland. They have windmills there.
Unless they've all been bombed out.
All of them?
It's possible.
But the tulips, they'd still be there, wouldn't they?
I don't know.
But we learned in school that there are thousands of tulips all over Holland. How could the Germans kill every last flower? Jacek,
What?
next time you go, will you bring me back a flower? It doesn't have to be a tulip, it can be anything. Jacek,
What?
will you?
Sure. You're my partner, aren't you? Go! Good girl, Hella, you got it! We worked together for 3 months. I'd board the streetcar from the Aryan side and sit still until the car was full. The Polish policeman knew me, and just before we'd enter the ghetto, I'd slip him a bribe. And then, where Hella was waiting, I'd throw out the knapsack, and about a block later when the German guard wasn't looking, the Pole would give me a shove into a crowd, and I'd make a run for it and meet Hella at home. It was a perfect operation, until one day I lost my balance and fell on an old lady who started screaming. The Germans turned around and started shooting at the sound, And 2 minutes later, Jews were bleeding and dying all over the place.
Yasek, what happened? Are you alright?
Crazy, get out of here! Run!
Knapsack.
The knapsack?
Oh no.
She dropped it. After all that, she dropped it.
Let's go back. Maybe we can still find it.
Sit!
If we go back right now, it might still be in the
I
sidewalk.
said sit! The place is crawling with Germans and you want to go back?
I'm sorry.
You want to carry it?
Okay.
Eat it slow. I knew this was a bad idea. The streetcar is just too dangerous. We've got to find another way to smuggle food. German bastard. 10 people killed for nothing.
What are we gonna do?
I don't know. Look at this. It won't last us more than a few days. Come on, let's go.
Walk out to your front door and turn right. When you reach the wall, climb over and take another right on Mazakowska until Jerusalemski Boulevard. Then turn left, and after you cross the Vistula, face west and run. Just follow the sunset and you can't get lost. Through Poland, into Germany and out again, through Holland, down into Belgium and into France. When you reach the channel, jump in and start swimming. When you reach the white cliffs of Dover, you can ease up a bit, but watch out for submarines. When you finally touch the shore, your troubles are over. Mazel tov! You've just reached the nearest ally of occupied Warsaw.
We believe in one God, the Father, the Almighty, the maker of heaven and earth. We believe in one Lord, Jesus Christ, the only Son of God. We believe in the Holy Spirit of the Lord, giver of life. We believe in the Holy Catholic Church.
Come on, Mala, hurry up.
Maybe this was a bad idea.
No, we decided to get out and we're going. Do you have your crucifix?
I'm wearing it.
It feels strange, doesn't it? Like we're not really us anymore. How much money did you bring?
30 zlotys.
30? But we need 100 to pay that man.
Well, don't you have any?
I have 50 and you're supposed to have 50. What happened to the other 20?
I gave it to my mother.
What? Are you crazy?
We're leaving the ghetto and she's not.
Not without 100 zlotys, we're not.
Alina, she's my mother.
He told us not to show up without it. What if he gets angry? He can turn us over to the Gestapo.
She hasn't eaten in 3 days. She keeps giving all the food to my brothers. I couldn't leave her without any money. Be mad at me. I don't care. I'm not sorry. Go on by yourself if you want, and I'll go home.
It's too late for that. It's almost curfew.
So, I'll stay here. I don't care. Let them catch me.
Will you keep moving? It took me 2 months to make this contact, and we're not throwing it away.
I'm sick and tired of this whole thing. Just look at this disgusting dress, and these ratty old shoes, and my hair. I'm dirty and I stink. I don't care anymore. I'm not going.
Oh, good, Mala. Why don't you just throw yourself off the wall while you're at it and save them the trouble?
This isn't going to work. Pretending we're Polish is a stupid idea.
It'll work if you stop complaining and listen.
We don't have enough money. That man isn't going to cross us over out of the goodness of his heart.
I know. But I have this.
What is it?
My mother's wedding ring. It's gold.
You're going to sell her wedding ring?
He said to stand on that roof and signal. He's a rope ladder from his attic.
But you've had that ring since I first met you in the ghetto.
This way.
Alina, that's all you have left to remember your mother by.
There he is.
He was just hanging there, with his eyes wide open, and this terrible expression on his face. I can still see it.
Well, try not to think about it.
He was so yellow and dried up. It didn't even look like him. Why did he do it, Jacek?
I don't know. I guess he just couldn't take it anymore.
stay with me until it's over? Promise me you'll stay.
You want to sleep at my house for a couple days?
I don't know. My mother's all alone. She says I'm the man of the house now.
Yeah.
I don't feel like a man. I feel like a little kid. Oh God, Yatsik, my papa's dead.
Up your ass, you bastard! Who you calling Jewish?
Jesus Christ, you son of a bitch, I'm just as Catholic as you are.
Holy mother of Chenstokhova, me a Jew? Oh yeah,
I swear by Jesus Christ,
Joseph,
I'm lying,
Joseph,
bitch.
asshole.
You bastard!
I couldn't sleep that night. I stared at the ceiling and thought about food. Sack loads of food. A chain of kids with sacks smuggling food. Kids with guns. Kids who didn't talk with their hands. Kids who could swear by Jesus Christ and spit on your face. A gang of kids that could follow me over the wall.
Kiss
my ass!
Drop dead! So this is it, the four of us?
No, there's one more meeting us here. You guys remember Sevek?
You mean the kid whose father hung himself?
He doesn't have the guts for this.
Well, it's either this or begging in the streets.
There's 100 other guys who'd be better, Yatsik.
Don't worry. I'll take care of him. Sevek, over here.
Am I late?
No, you're right on time. Guys, say hi to Sevek.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. How do you do? I'm very pleased to meet all of you. I brought my father's watch. I guess it's mine now. In case we need to know the time for curfew and things. And a notebook here, in case we want to write anything down.
Good, you're thinking ahead.
Are we waiting for anyone else?
Hey, sorry, I had to wait till Mama took her nap.
Oh, what's she doing here?
Does everyone know my sister Hella?
Hi, Hella.
I didn't know you had a sister.
What is this, a kindergarten?
Can we get on with it already? Let's talk about the plan.
Alright, sit down and listen. It all takes place in the Jewish cemetery.
Cemetery?
No man's land. It's not a part of the Aryan side, but it's outside of the ghetto. When I went to Sevek's father's funeral, I saw how it works. A German guard stands at the gate, while a Jewish policeman counts all the mourners to go out. They stay as long as it takes for the funeral, and then line up to be counted before going back into the ghetto. There were about 10 funerals going on at once, and there was so much crying and wailing. Nobody really paid attention to me, so I looked around.
Why didn't you hide and not go back?
They took a count, remember?
The funeral wagons carry the caskets in, but going out, they're empty, and no one ever inspects them. So they're a perfect place to smuggle a hell of a lot of food.
Yeah, if you can figure out how to get the food in there.
And even if you could, where would you keep the stuff until after the burial?
And how are you going to get into the cemetery in the first place if you're not going to a funeral?
Who says we're not going?
What?
It's simple. We pick out a procession and pretend like we're mourners. That means crying, wailing, beating your chest, anything to convince the Germans we're not a part of it.
Oh, Mashallah! Mashallah!
But then we bribe the Jewish policemen not to include us in the count.
So how much you want? 50? 60? All right, 70.
During the funeral, we hide. And when all the mourners go out, we climb over the wall.
Into the Christian cemetery next door.
Yes, and from there, straight into the Aryan side. We buy up all the food we can and return to the cemetery before curfew. The next morning, we wait for the first burial and fill the wagon with the goods, with the help of the driver who we also bribe. And then we join the procession and walk right back into the ghetto.
It's brilliant.
Sounds good to me.
There's 100 funerals a day. Let's go.
Oh, well, there's still a lot of things we need to work out. We could split it evenly 5 ways, or we could sell some in the ghetto and divide it. Hell, it could be our bookkeeper.
Math is my best subject.
Wait a minute. I don't understand one thing. You mean we have to spend the whole night in the cemetery? Where?
There's a big mausoleum near the wall. We can hide the food there too.
Good.
Oh, you mean we have to sleep with dead people.
What? You scared?
I'm not scared. I just want to understand the plan.
Well, it's perfect timing for me. My father just kicked me out of my own house because he found out I was doing a little smuggling of my own.
Your dad kicked you out for that? Shit, my dad would have kicked me out for not smuggling.
We could get shot, you know. There are motorcycles patrolling up and down the cemetery.
We could get shot anyway for doing nothing.
Yeah, but the picture's right, guys. You gotta watch it, understand? You get your ass burned.
Well, we don't have accents, and we can pass for Polish. So if anybody suspects you, just look them straight in the eye and swear your head off. And if that doesn't work...
Right.
And watch your pants, you guys. No matter what your face says, your Jewish schmuck will always give you away.
Hey, there's a girl here.
She shouldn't be.
Well, if they go for your pants and you can't make a run for it, there's only one thing left. This.
Wer ist mir? Is that a Luftwaffe?
You'll all get one before our first run, and if you don't know how to use it now, you'll learn.
That's what I want.
It's beautiful. Look at that blade.
My own Luftwaffe? You swear you'll give me one?
Can I see?
As soon as the war began, jokes could be heard all over the country. The illustrious Herr Hitler was furious and ordered that whoever was responsible for these insults be brought to him personally. A few weeks later, a meek, mild-mannered Jew was brought before him. "What is your name, Jew?" he asks. "Rubenstein," answers the Jew. "Rubenstein, are you responsible for the joke about me and the pig?" "Yes." "What about the joke that whenever I die, it will be a Jewish holiday?" "Yes, that one's mine." "And the one where I'm saved from drowning, and when I offer the Jew who saved me a reward, his request is that I don't tell anyone his name?" "That one is also mine." At this, the Fuhrer turned red in the face. "How dare you!" he roared. "Don't you know who I am? I am Adolf Hitler, the leader of the Third Reich, which is destined to last 1,000 years!" "Now just a minute," said the Jew. "That joke I had nothing to do with."
Here's the house, Romeo. Go ahead.
Push, I see it.
Better hurry up. There's a funeral at 4 o'clock.
I know the schedule.
Then what are you waiting for?
Maybe I'm waiting for you to get out of here.
Why?
I don't like witnesses.
Look, I'll stand over there by the post. If she answers the door, I'll take off. All right?
All right. Yes? Does Helena Goldman live here? Who? Helena Goldman. She's about 15 years old. Burnett. Mrs. Greenglass said she was staying here with a girlfriend.
Brunette girl's staying here with anybody.
Bastard.
Look, why don't you just forget her? There are plenty of other girls from Warsaw.
She's not like the other girls.
She may be beautiful and charming and elegant.
She's the greatest pianist you ever heard.
Yeah?
She won a 4-year scholarship to the conservatory.
Talented.
She wrote a sonata when she was 12.
But is she pretty?
Of course she's pretty.
That's what you say. But none of us have ever seen her. All we have is your word for it. Look, I've gone to 5 different places looking for her, and I don't even know what she looks like.
Well, that's too bad.
Now we had like a picture or something.
Oh, well, we don't. Come on, the guys will be waiting for us.
What about the one in your boots?
Who told you about that?
Rudy.
And who told him?
Hella.
Little sneak?
You should be flattered. She wanted Rudy to carry a picture of her in his boot.
Well, it's none of her business. It's none of anybody's business.
What are you getting so mad about?
Why did Mrs. Greenglass say she was there if she wasn't? Does she think I have time to go all around the ghetto chasing rumors?
Calm down. You'll find her.
Sure I will. And you know what'll happen? She won't even remember who I am.
Come on. Yes, she will.
The conservatory's bombed. The piano's confiscated. The Jews kicked out of the symphony. Why should she be the same?
You are.
Yeah.
Not bad. Don't worry. If you can find a way in and out of this ghetto, you'll find Helena Goldman.
Well,
I
Maybe it'll work. Are you sure you want to do this?
We have to eat, don't we?
What about your accent? I mean, you look okay, but the minute you open your mouth...
I swear by Christ, Holy Mother of Chenshikova. You think I'm some godless Jew parasite? Wounded Christ, I just want to buy my vegetables and go home.
But what if they ask you for your papers?
My papers? Wounded Christ, you think every time I step out of my house I take my papers? It'll be okay. Nobody even looked at us when we were at church.
But church is different. People only look at the priest. Besides, there are no Germans in church.
There are Germans everywhere. But we've been lucky.
So far.
Our landlady knows we're Jewish and she's helping us anyway. To me, that's a sign. There are still decent people in this world, and with their help, we'll get through this.
You really think so?
Positive. Where's the basket?
Here. I feel terrible that you have to do all the shopping.
It's all right.
But I know if I had to walk in that market with all those Germans and Jew hunters staring at me,
They stare at me, I stare back.
I wonder if my mother and brothers have anything to eat.
I've been thinking about my mother, too. Will you make my braids? I keep remembering how I used to make her so angry. She'd go into her room and lock the door and cry. Like that time I stole money out of her purse to go to the movies with Yatsik. Or those times I skipped my piano lessons to go to Saxon Gardens.
To see Yatsik.
Why not? He was my boyfriend. Did I ever show you his picture?
50 times!
He had the most beautiful voice. He was very serious about music. I never knew a boy before who liked classical music so much and was still so handsome.
I've never had a boyfriend.
He's probably forgotten all about me by now.
Paulina, what if you get caught? They'll kill you if they find out you're Jewish. They'll hang you like those people from the ghetto. And they rape girls.
Why do you keep talking about it? What do you want me to say?
I'm sorry. I'm just so scared all the time.
No. I'd better go. Jesus Christ, girl, I'll tell you one thing I know for sure.
What's that?
It's the curse of God to be born a Jew.
Youngster, Lieutenant, you guys get potatoes and onions.
And salami.
Only if there's time. And there's a guy over in Praga selling vegetables out of his basement. Here's the address. Sevik and I will grab flour, and Rudy.
Sugar, I know where to go.
Good. Be back at the cemetery before curfew. 7:45 at the latest. Be careful. Go.
Prague? Shit, that's 5 miles from here.
We better get going. What's the address?
It's 251 B. I can't make it out.
Bialystroika. 251 Bialystroika.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But with Yatsik's handwriting?
It's printed in block letters.
What's block letters?
You can't read, can you?
I can read.
Did you ever go to school?
Of course I went to school. I finished the 5th grade. Stop looking at me like that or I'll smash you in the mouth.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
I'd go to work, rich boy. My dad and me supported my mama and my 4 sisters with our bare hands. There's someone coming. Over here. Shit, there's 2 of them that are talking. We'll have to wait here till they leave.
What did you and your father used to do?
He was a porter at the train station. He used to carry his luggage, and I used to get his customers. I carried some of the small stuff, but he was so strong he could carry a big giant trunk and 2 suitcases without breaking a sweat.
What's he doing now?
He was picked up for forced labor about 6 months ago. I figured he should be back any day. They'll probably keep him for longer because he's such a good worker.
That's good.
I'm taking care of the family till he's home. He'd beat the crap out of me if I didn't. I bet you've never gotten a beating in your life.
You're right. My parents used the silent treatment. Her specialty was painful, mournful looks of reproach, which means I'm breaking their hearts and ruining their lives.
No shit.
It's very effective. I couldn't get a bad grade in school or contradict an opinion or associate with the wrong sort of people. They would definitely disapprove of you.
Yeah, well, I definitely disapprove of them.
Our biggest fight was when I told them I didn't want to go into Father's business. They didn't speak to me for a week.
You don't want to be a rich businessman?
No, I want to be a conductor of an orchestra.
You mean the person who waves a stick around? Do they make a lot of money?
I don't know, and I don't care.
Only a rich kid would say that. They're gone. Let's go. You play any soccer?
Not really. I never had the time to learn.
Maybe I could teach you.
Maybe I could teach you to read. We could trade.
Maybe, but personally I think soccer's a lot more useful.
3 prisoners in a labor camp, a Pole, a Czech, and a Jew, were caught trying to escape and were sentenced to death. Each was granted one last wish. I want my ashes scattered over the grave of Pilsudski, said the Pole. I want my ashes scattered over the grave of Masaryk, said the Czech. And I, said the Jew, want my ashes scattered over the grave of Adolf Hitler. But that's impossible, he was told. Hitler isn't dead yet. Fine, said the Jew. I'll wait.
Quit moving around.
Oi, Sevik! Oi, Sevik!
Jacek,
Huh?
did you hear anything?
Like what?
Voices.
It's just the wind. Go back to sleep.
Oi, Sevik! This is Ratzaminer Rebbe. I am buried right underneath you. Sevik, I have to tell you. Get your ass off my face!
Very funny. I knew it was you the whole time.
Me? I just woke up this minute.
Move closer, you guys. It's cold.
Alright, like bookends. Me and Lutek, Rudy and Sevik.
What about me?
You and Ratzmeyer Rebbe.
Come on, guys, it's cold. Shit!
Now what?
I have to piss.
Hey, watch it!
You almost stepped on my hand.
I can't help it, I drank too much vodka.
You know, my father says a prayer every time he does that.
My father's so high class, I'm not sure he does it at all.
Send it to my father. He'll give him a book that explains everything.
I'm back.
Mazel tov.
Now I'm hungry. Salami?
Forget it. I don't know which sack they're in, and I'm not looking through all of them just for you.
Who asked you? My emergency salami. I have pickles too.
He's a walking delicatessen.
What was that?
Let's eat.
You know, my father isn't buried in this cemetery.
You should have been. It's not suicide when they drive you to it.
He always wore his uniform, even after they kicked him out of the army. I still have his medals. You know, I was going to write a book about him, a biography, because he really was a hero.
Do you say Kaddish for him?
How can I? No prayer book.
Maybe you're better off.
You're sure not like you used to be.
What is? I'll take more salami.
What does your father think of you?
If it's not in the Talmud, my father doesn't think about it. There's 14 of us in the apartment now. He goes down to the basement with a candle by himself and studies all day. My mother even brings him his meals.
But he eats what you bring in? He doesn't care you're a smuggler?
He probably doesn't even know. He probably thinks it's manna from heaven.
You're lucky then.
Real lucky when I think of all the years I wasted believing that stuff.
Hey, come on, Rudy. It's not all bad, and you know that.
I don't know what I know.
All the food, the holidays, the music. Remember the choir at Tomatsky? I used to love that place.
Didn't you hear? They turned the Tlomatsky synagogue into a stable.
What?
Yeah, I heard that too. I don't have the stomach to go back and see it.
I don't believe it. That place is like a palace.
It's a very high-class stable. SS horses only.
But they could have used it for anything. Concerts, rallies, even a church. Why didn't you tell me?
How much good news can you take?
A stable. That place had stained glass windows and marble floors. I mean, what do you think they did with the bima?
Probably chopped it up for firewood.
And the Torahs?
I don't know.
Sure you do. It's standard procedure. They roll it out in the street and have the rabbi shit on it.
Shut up.
Don't...
Guys, you don't have to talk like that.
Are you blaming me?
You don't have to be so crude.
Oh, pardon me. You better run home to Mama before you faint.
Hey, Rudy! You didn't eat nothing by it.
What's the matter with you?
What time is it?
6:30. You want to hold my watch?
No. Thanks.
I've never heard a choir. What's it sound like?
Same way it does on the radio.
I've never had a radio. What kinds of songs did you sing?
Well, mostly prayers and classical stuff. There were 60 of us, and it was beautiful. We had all types of harmonies and big solo pieces, especially on Yom Kippur. Kol Nidre was the big night, and we used to rehearse for months. Avinu Malkeinu, Aneinu Vaneinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Aneinu Vaneinu, Ki en banu ma'asim, Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, ve'oshienu, Avinu Malkeinu, Haneinu Vaneinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Haneinu Vaneinu, Ki en banu ma'asim, Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, ve'oshienu, Avinu Malkeinu, Haneinu Vaneinu.
Serenading dead? Kowski, you stink! It's nice to see you boys spending your spare time in cultural pursuits. Well, it's damn stupid when our dear Deutsch friends can show up at any time. What's the matter with you? I can hear you 50 meters away.
It's too early for Germans. Why should they open the cemetery when they can get you to do it?
I'll ignore that remark. Smuggler hoodlums are in no position to criticize.
You don't seem to have problems doing business with smuggler hoodlums.
I'll do business with anyone who wants to. I'm gonna live through this war. How many sacks do you have? 8. I'll take 4.
4? You said 2.
You can't just raise the price like that.
If you want to use the cemetery, you'll pay whatever I say. You won't argue.
You son of a bitch!
The Germans wanted twice as much as last time. What do you expect me to do? I have a wife and 2 children. Listen, we'll pay you, but we need all 6 today. Don't try anything funny, Yatsik. Remember, without me, you're dead. It's another corpse to say Kaddish over.
You'll get your food, even if my mama has to go hungry.
Don't blame me for your mama. Blame them.
I blame you both. You think you're special just because they gave you this job? But what happens, Markowski, when there's no Jews left to protect?
You little punk. That's the kind of gratitude I get for helping you feed your families.
Your family eats twice as much as mine ever does.
You want gratitude? Go to Berlin. Let Hitler shake your hand.
You won't even have to learn German. You'll probably speak it better than Polish by now.
That's where I'll be around when the worms are crawling on your bones. Every smuggler gets a bullet, and you'll get yours sooner or later.
You'll get yours too, Markowski.
If I were you, I wouldn't come back without that food.
I hope you choke on it.
Just pull the curtain on the choir, understand? First funeral's in an hour.
We paid the bribe and made our peace with Markowski. And soon enough, we all had enough food to feed ourselves, our family, and even a little extra to sell in the ghetto. News reached us that Germany attacked Russia. And rumors told horrible stories about what was happening to Jews there, but we didn't listen. Only death by starvation was a reality to us, and for the time being, we had enough food. For a while, it looks like we would make it. Come on, run! Let's go! Go! Ludwig, they're right behind us, Rudy! Jokula, you first! Jokula, come on!
Don't worry, I can handle them.
Stop wasting time!
I'm not. Go!
Get up there!
Go!
Halt!
Jokula!
How the hell did they know we were near that wall? I was almost over when they hit me. It wasn't bad, just in my arm. When I fell back down, I started running. When I made it to the chestnut tree, I started climbing. I figured I could climb past their lousy bullets. But when they caught up again, they started shooting. There were 5 of those bastards. If there were 2, I could have taken with my bare hands. When I fell back out of the tree, they started kicking me. I didn't really feel it. It was the dogs I hated the most. With their dog smell and their dog teeth, it made me sick. I didn't die for another 5 minutes. Shit, if my dad had been there, those pricks wouldn't have had a chance.
Winston Churchill invited the great sage, the Rabbi of Ger, to come and advise him on how to bring about Germany's downfall. The rabbi thought and finally answered, there are 2 ways to bring about Germany's downfall, one involving natural means and the other involving supernatural means. The natural means would be if 1,000,000 angels with flaming swords were to descend upon Germany and destroy it. The supernatural means would be if 1,000,000 Englishmen parachuted down on Germany and destroyed it.
Helena, thank God.
What's the matter?
The landlady, she's throwing us out.
What?
She said it's getting too dangerous. She's not going to risk her life for a couple of Jews. What are we going to do?
I don't know. We'll have to move.
Where?
I don't know, Mala. We'll find a place.
No one's going to take us in. I know it. As soon as they find out we don't have papers.
Stop it, Mala.
We're going to get caught. I know it. We'll be arrested and then they'll torture us and shoot us. Oh my God, Helena, we're going to die.
Shut your mouth. Don't you say that. Don't you ever say that. We are not going to die. Do you understand? We are going to make it. You're not going to catch us. Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
Yes.
We can't let this stop us. We have to move somewhere else and keep going.
The Germans are looking for us
I
everywhere.
don't care. I'd rather die from a bullet than starve to death.
Sevik, what about you?
Yankala would want us to keep going.
Hella?
I don't know. I'm scared, Yatsik.
I know. We're all scared. And they're the strongest army in the world, and they have everything, and we have nothing. But that's why we need to stand up to them. That's why we need to fight. Because if we give up, they win.
Who did you say? Russians! Bombers are on the way!
No, it's Americans. Paratroopers are landing in Germany.
I heard it was the British. They're launching a major offensive.
Hitler, what about him?
Choked on a fishbone at a banquet in Berlin.
I heard the Red Cross is coming to Warsaw.
With food packages.
In medicine.
It's only a matter of time.
The war is almost over.
It'll end any day now.
Maybe a couple months.
That's what I heard.
We've been through the worst.
You've been listening to RSJF, radio station Jewish Fantasy, coming to you directly from the Warsaw Ghetto. If you don't like our news, it's your own fault. Instead of asking us, you should make up your own.
Okay, you guys. This apartment in the area inside is one of the few buildings that looks straight into an attic window in the ghetto. Now, we can use a drain pipe, cut it and attach it to make it go from the apartment straight into the attic window in the ghetto. For 2,000 zlotys a day, Stash will let us use this setup to smuggle food.
Can we trust him?
Can we trust anybody? It's a risk we're gonna have to take. Sevik and I will do the shopping while you three wait in the attic with empty sacks. When we give you the signal, put the sacks at the mouth of the drain pipe, and we'll start pouring.
When do we start?
Tomorrow. And make sure you sleep all day, because you'll be up all night. And this isn't gonna be small time like before. This time, we're feeding the whole ghetto.
You don't have to do it.
I don't mind.
I feel very strange about this.
Rudy, the lining of your jacket is ripped to shreds. Now, take it off. What are you thinking?
Nothing.
Yes, you are. I can feel your brain working. What? Come on, tell me.
I was just wondering how someone like you can exist. Someone so good in the midst of so much evil.
I'm not that good.
You are. You just don't know. You have no idea what people are really like.
Ow.
What happened?
I pricked myself.
Hella, you really don't have to.
Shh.
You know, I never really had a girlfriend before.
Really?
And if it wasn't for this war, I never would have.
Why not?
Because Hasidic boys don't have girlfriends. They get married when they're 18 to someone their parents pick out for them.
But what if you don't like her?
Doesn't matter. You're stuck with her for the rest of your life, and she's stuck with you.
That's horrible.
I don't know, it might not be so bad. What if my parents decided on you?
Don't I have anything to say about that?
Not a word. It's all up to your father. My father would approach him and he would say, "Sir, it has come to my attention that you have a fine Jewish daughter called Hella. I have learned that she is strong, healthy, and not too bad looking."
Thanks a lot. Sounds like you're describing a horse.
Now, I myself, dear sir, have a son. Rudy, we call him. He's brilliant, handsome, of a truly noble character.
You don't say. He sounds almost too good to be true.
A prince, dear sir, an angel, the crown jewel of the family tree. And by a piece of marvelous good fortune, he too is unmarried.
Oh my goodness. What a coincidence.
Now, sir, the first mitzvah in the Torah, the first commandment God gave Adam was pur urvu, go forth and multiply. Therefore, I propose that we unite our children under the chuppah as soon as possible. Then they can be good Jews, fulfill God's wishes by going forth and multiplying again and again and again.
And my father would answer, "Thank you for the kind offer, but I must consult Hella first. For it is 1942 and I am a modern man. I would never force my daughter to marry someone she didn't love."
And when he consulted his daughter, what would she reply?
I have a feeling she would probably say, yes.
I was hoping she would.
When my mama saw those eggs, she almost fainted. I told her, "Mama, don't you worry. As long as I'm around, you'll never go hungry."
Shh, not so loud.
Helena, I'm tired.
Just a little further.
But we've been walking for hours.
Shh, there's somebody coming. Yatsik?
Helena?
My God, it's really you!
I don't believe it! I've been looking for you everywhere. How long have you been on the area inside?
Almost a year. This is my friend Mala. Mala, this is Yatsik.
This is, Sevik. Do you live in this neighborhood?
We did, but our landlady kicked us out.
Where are you staying now?
Nowhere. We're out on the street.
Do you think Fronek would take them in?
For the right price.
I think I know a place for you. It belongs to a guy we do business with.
But we don't have any papers.
I'll get you papers. Don't worry. Come on.
We don't have any money either.
Don't worry about it. I'll get you the money. Come on, this place isn't safe.
You got so tall.
You got even prettier.
Where do you live?
I still stay at home, but I'm over here 2 or 3 times a week. There's a gang of us. We smuggle food.
You do? That's wonderful.
We smuggle fruits, vegetables, even milk for the little ones.
Once we get settled, I'll help you. You give me a list of what you need and I can go shopping in the markets.
I can't let you do that.
Why not? I've done it 100 times. No one's ever stopped me.
It's too dangerous.
So? Isn't it the same for you?
I'm a boy.
No, you're not. You're not a boy and I'm not a girl. We're Jews.
Monica, these are my friends. They need a place to stay.
Yatsik, I have no room.
They can stay in the basement.
Look, I'd like to help you, but it's too dangerous.
Look at them. They're typical Polish peasant girls. You could say they're your cousins from the countryside or kitchen maids. You'll cook and clean for them, right, girl?
Absolutely.
We won't be any trouble, really.
I'm sorry, but I can't take the chance.
I'll pay you thousands of zlotys a week.
Yatsik, please. I have a family. If the Gestapo finds out.
2,000.
Do you boys seriously think I would risk my wife and children for 2,000 zlotys?
4,000.
Are you really so rich?
No, I just spent our week's allotment on food, but Mama still has some jewelry left I can sell, so it'll be all right.
They'll need beds and some blankets.
Okay, I'll talk to Fronik's wife. In the meantime, stick together and don't go out more than once a week.
In the ghetto, did you ever come across a Mrs. Perkel? Or 2 boys, Daniel or Josef Perkel?
No, sorry.
If you have the address, I can go and look for them.
You'd do that for me?
Sure. Well, why don't you write the address down and maybe a note telling them you're all right?
Thank you. I have a pencil and a piece of paper in my basket.
You have no idea how much that kid has changed.
So have you.
You think so?
You're so grown up, so confident, so tough.
Well, you've got to be tough in order to survive. And even then, the odds are still against you. My friend, Yankala,
I remember Yankala. How is he?
he was killed during one of our smuggling operations.
I think my parents were killed too.
What happened?
One day the Germans showed up and arrested them and they never came back. For a while I thought maybe they were in a work camp, but it's been too long.
What's that?
I made this keyboard out of a box. I colored in the black keys with charcoal, and every night before I go to bed, I practice for 45 minutes. How's your voice? Do you ever sing anymore?
Not much to sing about.
Yeah.
But will you play for me, though? I always love to watch you play.
Mrs. Esther Perkel, 524 Nishka. Hey, I live on that street, on Verkorna.
You do?
If you lived in the ghetto, we'd be neighbors. Not that you'd ever want to live in the ghetto.
Has it gotten much worse?
Well, there's a lot of disease now. No medicine, of course. People are so cold and hungry and sick. We're doing all right, but you never know how long that'll last.
Sometimes I feel so guilty about leaving my mother.
Did she want you to go?
She insisted.
Then you're doing the right thing. She probably thanks God every day that you're out of there.
Do you have any books at home?
Yeah, sure, lots.
Well, if it's not too much trouble, I don't want you to go out of your way.
Who's your favorite author?
Tolstoy.
I'll bring you Anna Karenina.
Oh, thank you.
7, we've got to get moving. I'll talk to Fronik about some food and candles. It was really nice to see you again, Helena.
You'll be coming back, won't you?
The whole German army couldn't keep me away.
And I'll be back too.
Goodbye. Be careful.
Bye.
Something's wrong. They should have been here by now.
Relax, something probably came up. You know Yahtzee.
They had to stop and pay off stash, remember?
Well, they better hurry. It's almost curfew.
Let's see how we did this week. Where's my book?
I never liked Stash. I mean, Markowski's a crook, but at least he's one of us. Stash could spill the whole operation to the Gestapo for a reward.
We pay him more. He's getting rich off of that drain pipe.
Last week we fed 255 people. Look, I have all their names. I'm saving them to show my children.
This girl would save the wall if she could fit it in her scrapbook.
What's wrong with it? I want to remember.
You don't think you'll remember the ghetto without souvenirs?
Not every detail, and anyway, how will people in the future ever know what happened?
What makes you think that they'll want to know? What makes you think that you'll want to know? I don't. As soon as this war's over, I'm going to do everything I can to forget it ever happened.
Like what?
Like learning to fly. I'll be a pilot. Spend my whole life in the sky, far away from the whole world.
You'll have to come down sometime.
Only to visit you.
England is far enough for me. Buckingham Palace, the Tower of London, the British Museum, and every afternoon at 4 o'clock they have tea. They sit down quietly and eat these things called crumpets and act like civilized human beings.
I want a camera. After the war, I'm going to save up and get a job after school, and no matter what Mama says. The Germans keep taking pictures and making movies, and we don't have anything. I wish I had a picture of every one of us right now.
I don't like it. It's quiet and the whole building is dark. Usually there's a candle or something.
Don't you see anyone?
Not Stash, not his wife, nobody. We need a signal. Some kind of sign, just in case anything goes wrong.
A signal. A gun would be a lot more useful.
You know how to shoot a gun?
What's there to know? You point and pull the trigger.
There's a little more to it than that, Rudy.
So I'll learn. Too bad I didn't learn that instead of the Talmud. Yesterday, they beat up my father so bad he could barely crawl. I tell him, Tata, shave your beard. It just provokes those bastards. But God forbid you should touch a razor to his face.
He has a right. It's what he believes in.
Don't give me that. It's what he hides in.
That's not fair, Rudy. Lots of people still believe in God.
And you, little sister, what do you believe?
Don't be sarcastic.
I'm not. I want to know.
I guess I still believe too. Every night I say a prayer and I ask God to watch over Mama and Papa and the rest of us, and so far we've been pretty lucky. I got typhoid and I got better, didn't I? And no one's starving and no one's been arrested. Even if a lot of terrible things have happened, I still think God cares.
And what about Yankala? Did God care about him?
I don't know.
I'd like to believe. I always did before. It would make things easier if all this was happening for a reason. But every time I hear the Germans boasting about how God is on their side...
Whose side does it look like he's on?
Well, now that the Americans are in the war...
I'm talking about us. The yids, the swine, the dirty kikes.
How are we supposed to know? What do you want us to do? Give up? Say there's no hope? The Germans get away with everything?
Sam's dead. Let's get out of here.
I was brave, wasn't I? I tried not to be scared, but I couldn't help it when I saw that German's gun. I knew they wouldn't believe we were Catholic. They already knew. Somebody told. And then, when they went for our pants, I knew it was all over. I couldn't run as fast as you. But I was doing okay until the roof, wasn't I? And then, when you said to jump, I jumped. But I knew I was going to break my leg. I knew it. Should have just left me there. How did you think you could drag me down? Could hear the footsteps behind us, and the bullets. I bet they must have shot me 20 times. It hurt like hell. But I didn't cry. Did I?
back to Stash's place, the whole house was boarded up. The Germans found out about the drain pipe and sent the whole family to Auschwitz. We were hungry again.
I've been so worried.
It's getting harder to get out of the ghetto. Where's Mom?
Upstairs. She'll be gone for an hour.
You look beautiful today.
Thank you.
Did you have time to get to the market?
Yes, but there wasn't much. I brought you turnips, carrots, and a sack of potatoes.
Well, it's better than nothing. Do you have enough for yourselves?
Don't worry, we're fine. But I promise you, after this war, I'm going to eat nothing but cakes and whipped cream and fresh strawberries for an entire year.
Not me. I'm going to have roast turkey with stuffing and potato pancakes with applesauce and, homemade chicken noodle soup and matzo balls and chopped liver and scrambled eggs and orange juice.
Stop it, you're torturing me. Oh God, Jacek. Do you think we'll ever have a normal life again?
I don't know. I hope so.
Only time I feel alive is when I'm with you, and every time you leave, I'm terrified you'll never come back.
I know. It's hard for me too.
Yes, but you're not stuck in this room day after day, night after night. Sometimes I feel like I've been buried alive and this is my tomb.
Well, it's better than a real tomb.
Jacek, I want to go back to the ghetto.
No!
It's been too long. I can't take it anymore. Neither can Mala. We want to be with Jews, and I want to be with you.
I said no. Don't even think about
I
it.
can't stand the isolation. I'm falling apart. Lately, when I go to the market, I start shaking from the strain of trying to act natural.
Well, hold it in. The only thing that could ever possibly give you away is your nerves. You look like a typical Polish peasant girl.
But I'm not.
Do you know how many people would give their right arms to be in your position? Helena, the ghetto is full of typhoid and starvation. There are dead bodies on the streets.
Okay, forget it.
Listen, the solution is just not for you to come back to the ghetto. I should get out.
How many times have I heard that before?
No, I mean it. I'll get you and Mala a house on the countryside, and Hella and I will meet you there.
What about your parents? Are you really going to leave your parents?
Yes.
Your mother?
She'll get used to it. I'll bring her and Papa food once a week.
What about your grandmother?
Fine. One day for her and one day for them.
And your cousins and your aunts and uncles? And Rudy and Lutek? You're never going to leave. Why do you even say it? The only way we'll be together is if you bring me back.
I said no!
You don't care about me, that's all. Everyone else is more important. So lonely. So alone.
Helena, don't. Helena, please. You are important. Maybe the most important. And that's why I want you to be safe. So you can survive.
When will this war be over?
Helena stayed on the Aryan side, and I stayed in the ghetto. She was right. I couldn't just abandon my family and my friends. We searched everywhere for another place to smuggle, but food was scarce, and the Germans were becoming more brutal. In July 1942, just as things were at their lowest, they got even worse.
All Warsaw Jews, regardless of age or sex, are to be resettled in the East.
Resettled? Where?
You will be sent to the Ukraine. There will be work and food.
Ukraine? What's in Ukraine? What type of work?
You may bring 15 kilos of personal property and provisions. Anyone volunteering for the first transport will be provided with 5 kilos of bread, jam, and sugar.
Bread? You give me wet bread? Maybe we should go. Who knows? Maybe it's a change for the better. What could be worse than the ghetto?
Anyone caught trying to leave the ghetto will automatically be shot.
The whole ghetto's surrounded! Hundreds of Germans everywhere!
The stations, the trains, cattle cars!
Cattle cars? Does that sound safe to you?
What choice do we have? You know if we stay in the ghetto, we'll die anyway.
They're offering you half the Ukraine with work and food. Is that enough for you?
It's a lie! Don't believe him!
And even if we don't believe, what should we do?
Resist! Hide!
Hide? Where?
Anywhere will help you.
Listen, why would they starve and torture us here just to resettle us somewhere better? Wherever they want to send us, it's worse than the ghetto.
Don't listen to them. They're only asking for 6,000 a day. You can send those who are starving and still save the core of the ghetto. This is a war. You have to sacrifice something.
We've sacrificed enough! It's time to fight!
Right? But who knows how to fight?
It's time we learn!
Barricade your doors and hide in your basements. Whatever you do, do not get on those trains.
It's useless to hide. We have to deliver 6,000 of you a day. And if you won't come peacefully, the Germans will come and get you.
You'll have to find us first, traitor. Hide. Do you hear me? Hide.
Hide! You
Resist!
can't! You can't! You can't hide! Yatik, where are you?
Helen, over here. Where are Mama and Papa?
The Germans were breaking down doors and whipping people into the street. I lost them.
It's okay. I'll look for them. But first, we need to get you to the sewing factory. The Germans are sparing anyone with a sewing machine.
But all the sewing machines were confiscated.
Not all. I hid ours in our backyard. Let's go.
They kicked in the doors, and they started hitting us with clubs and pushing us down the stairs. We didn't even have time to get our coats. When I got outside, the street was full of people from every building on the block. People were begging and crying. I don't know what to do. And my father, he's praying right in the middle of that hole. The Germans are whipping and pushing us towards the depot. And he's praying, Shema Israel. There's SS troops and Ukrainian guards with machine guns and dogs all over the place. I don't know what to do. My mother's crying and begging, and I keep looking for a way out. And then I notice that the cattle cars are only guarded on one side, and there's a chance to escape. So I tell my father, I say, Tata, let's make a run for it. I see a way out. And he says, no, my son. This is God's will. Only the Messiah can change anything. Can you believe it? It's death. It's the end. And he's still waiting.
A young woman was dragged off to the train depot with her little son. As they pushed her towards the cattle cars, an SS officer tried to separate her from her child. She begged the German not to, until finally he told her if she could guess which one of his eyes was made of glass, he would grant her request. The woman stared for a moment and guessed the left eye. She was correct and allowed to keep her son. Later, someone asked her how she had known to choose the left eye. It was easy, she answered. The left eye had the more human look.
Helena, they're only rumors.
German troops, all those trains, what else can it be?
How can they deport the whole ghetto?
He should have contacted us by now. It's never been this long. Mama, I'm really worried.
Helena, you know Yatsik. He'll be all right.
I hate this waiting. Oh, Yatsik, where are you?
The deportations ended on September 1942, on Rosh Hashanah. From 500,000 Jews, 65,000 remained. The teens and the young adults, the healthy and the very strong, the radical and the very violent. The very young, the old, the weak, the peaceful, the hopeful, had all disappeared.
I can't believe it. It's not true.
It's true, Lutek.
It can't be. It's a rumor. You know how rumors spread in the ghetto?
There are eyewitness accounts.
But we got postcards from our relatives in work camps.
They were forced to write those before they were gassed.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
How could they do that? How could anybody do that?
When you look back on the last 3 years, it seems like we had a choice. To move into the ghetto or not. To cooperate or not. To go along with each inhuman regulation in order to gain more time. Every day we hope for a German defeat. And we convinced ourselves that things could not get any worse. That we could hold out until liberation. The deportations ended those illusions. We were cut off from the rest of the world. 2,000 kilometers away from the nearest Allied front, and 100 kilometers away from the ashes of our families. We now know that the only reality is Treblinka, that the only hope is to face the truth and be strong. The only choice is to fight like men and women of honor, with guns in our hands.
Kamala's almost ready. She's so nervous she can't stop crying. I told her she could stay here and take her chances, but I was going back with you. Did you contact Hella yet?
Rudy and Lutek are picking her up.
I can't wait to meet them. I feel like I've known them my whole life.
Listen, Alina, maybe you should stay.
Yatsik, we already decided.
Maybe we decided wrong.
I'm going back and we're going to be together.
Alina, we're living in bunkers. The only food and water we have is what we can store underground. We're smuggling in guns and explosives.
Good.
You really think you can shoot a person?
A person, no. A German, yes.
Alina, the chances of surviving...
My chances are the same as yours.
Please try to be rational.
Rational? The whole world is insane and you want me to be rational? I want out. Do you understand? I want out. I'm sick of being scared and ashamed. I'm sick of lying and pretending and wearing this cross around my neck as if that gives me permission to be alive. I'm a Jew and I'm going to be proud of it. I'm going to hold my head up. And if that means fighting, I'll fight. And if that means dying, I'll die.
I'm ready.
And let's get out of here.
Well?
We were too late.
What do you mean you were too late? Tell me.
Last week, they raided the sewing factory night shift and marched all the girls to the trains.
They sent Hella to Treblinka?
No, she made a run for it, outside the gates.
And?
She was shot down.
Good. Good for her.
Good for her?
She fought back. She didn't walk like a lamb to the slaughter into a cattle
A
car.
person can live in a cattle car.
Maybe, but no one can live in a gas chamber.
Who knows? She was young. She was strong. Maybe we would have given her work.
Damn it, Lutek. Haven't you learned anything? They're not going to give us work. They're not going to let us live. I hate them. I hate them. I'll smash their skulls in. I'm proud of you, Hella. I'm proud of you. You did good. You hear me? You did good. Bravo!
Where's Hella? What happened to Hella?
I missed you a lot. I kept wondering what you were doing and if you and Rudy and Lutik were still together. Every day I'd sit in the factory and I'd wish you'd come and get me. I'd see the lines marching from the depot from my window, but I knew you wouldn't get caught. Remember when it was just you and me and the knapsack from the trolley? I guess I was the first member of your gang, wasn't I? We fed a lot of people and I helped. It was the best time of my whole life. I was really scared when they came in the middle of the night and made the selection, but I knew I couldn't get on those trains. I told the other girls about Treblinka, and some of them didn't even know. I figured if 10 or 12 of us made a run for it, some of us would get away. I never thought I'd get hit. Even if they shot down all the others, I'd get away. I thought I was going to grow up and marry Rudy, and we'd visit Holland on our honeymoon. See the windmills, remember? And the tulips, if there were any left.
The Germans are coming back to finish the job. They caught us off guard the first time, but we know better now. What's the status on weapons?
We've been allotted guns, a few grenades, and homemade Molotov explosives. We have a limited number of bullets for target practice, so don't waste them. Our station is on the rooftop near Marinowska Square.
Good. Bunker.
We've got enough supplies to last us a month. We've been putting together first aid kits. We've been searching empty apartments for medicine.
Good. Rudy?
I talked to leadership this morning. Next week, we begin clearing out any traitors we can find. We must kill any Jewish collaborators that are left. Until then, it's imperative that the Germans suspect nothing. We must live as normally as possible.
The Jewish Combat Organization has judged you and found you guilty of crimes against the Jewish people.
Wait a minute now.
for your collaboration with the German scum.
Because you helped round up hundreds of thousands and put them on the trains.
Because you live like a king off the blood and tears of innocent men, women, and children.
I didn't. I had no choice. They threatened to kill my own children and torture my wife.
We've been sent here to carry out your sentence.
Helsinki, please, I'll do anything you want.
That sentence is death.
Hello, this is Warsaw calling. Can you hear me? Warsaw calling. Is anybody there? The German army is on the way. We can't hold them off for more than a couple of days. They're sending tanks and bombers against children armed with bottles and a few guns.
I love you. Oh God, I love you. Say you love me.
Helena.
Please, God's sake, I want to hear you say it.
Helena, I can't.
Please, God's sake.
I love you.
You'll marry me after the war? I want to have 2 kids, a boy and a girl. I used to want 4, but not now.
Helena.
Maybe we'll adopt some.
Helena.
There's so many orphans now. It seems selfish to have children when there are so many clean parents. There aren't any synagogues left, and I won't have a white dress. but-
Helena, stop it.
I'm scared, Yatsik. I'm so scared.
It's so quiet.
I know.
You're shaking. Aren't you cold?
No, I'm okay.
Here, take my jacket.
No, really, I'm fine.
You sure?
I'm okay. Really.
It's okay to be scared.
It's not that.
Then what is it?
I can't tell you.
Why not?
Because it's stupid.
Hey, come on. You can tell me. Come on. I won't tell anyone. I promise. What is it?
I was thinking I might not even be here tomorrow. And I've never even been kissed by a boy.
It's time.
It's beautiful.
Wait till the Germans see this. He'll drive him crazy.
Our job is to protect it. Make every last bullet count. Make every Molotov bottle blow them to pieces.
Look at the sky. Look at the trees. Look at the river across the city. Look at the rotting ghetto beneath us. Look at each other's faces. And remember the vow we made. If one of us survives, he will tell what happened.
It's the first day of Passover, the holiday of freedom. There are fires all over the ghetto. The hospital is burning. Whole blocks are in flames.
I was the first to go. I knew I would be. They bombed the roof first because of the flag. As soon as it fell, I grabbed it and I held it high. I thought of my mother and my brothers and everyone in my family that was murdered. And I never felt so proud in my life. But then a piece of chimney exploded in my face. I'm glad I couldn't see myself. I must have looked terrible.
Clouds of black smoke are choking us, and there's no way out. We beg you, alert the world. Send a message to the Pope. Bomb the trains. Bomb Treblinka. Do something.
I killed 20 or 30 at least. I saw their faces. Their blood was as red as ours. They couldn't stomach that flag. They sent a whole unit after us with submachine guns. They climbed up into the attic of the next building and opened fire. They thought we were trapped, stupid assholes. When I saw their ugly faces, I grabbed our last grenade and I made a run for it across the roof. They couldn't touch me. They couldn't get near me. And then I jumped straight through the attic window, opened up the grenade, and I blew us all to bits! Nazi blood mixed with mine, Nazi bones all over the place. Teeth and guts splashed on the ceiling. Oh man, it was paradise.
You never answered. Where were you? Where was everybody? Every day, we looked to the sky, hoping for the sight of a friendly plane. The Germans brought in field artillery, and the ghetto was a flaming inferno. After 22 days, there was nothing left but rubble.
It was the best music we ever made. Better than Verdi. Better than the chorus in Beethoven's Ninth. The sounds of our guns and German screams and our laughter when we saw them run. When you said it was time to get out of the ghetto, I followed you. Those sewers disgusted me, but I knew it was the only way to get out. The water was filthy and full of rats, and the smoke pouring in from the burning ghetto was so thick we could hardly breathe. But in spite of everything, we had hope. Maybe there was still a way to get out alive. But the thing I feared most finally happened. We were caught, and beaten, and locked into a cattle car. I cut my hands raw, pulling the barbed wire off that window. And I held you by your heels so you could pull off the seal and break the lock. And when we opened the door and we could see the trees and the fields rolling by in the night, we were so close to being free. I was scared to jump, but I was ready. Other kids were jumping from other cars too. But then the Germans guarding the roof started shooting. So you told me to throw out my jacket so they'd shoot at that first, and then jump. That was a really good idea, Jacek. But it didn't work. The Germans guarding the roof saw me, and they shot me. And I sang Shema Yisrael as I bled to death in the gravel, next to the railroad track, somewhere between Warsaw and the gas chambers.
Seems like I spent my whole life waiting to be with you. On the Aryan side in the concentration camp, you were the reason I got up and stood in roll call for hours. The reason I did slave labor in the munitions factory filling bullets with chemicals. The reason I didn't kill myself when they made me a prostitute for the SS. When they separated us in Maidanek, I tried to memorize your face. When they shaved my head, I was worried what you'd think. When my period stopped, I was scared I could never have your child. But what scared me the most was that you would die and I would be left alone. That I would make it through, but you wouldn't be there. But then one day I realized that I was the one coughing blood, and I was the one getting sicker, and I wasn't the one who was going to be left alone. When we were liberated, they carried me out of Bergen-Belsen on a stretcher. They told me they were sending me to a hospital in Sweden and put me on a ship. Only you could have found me there. When I heard your voice, it was like out of a dream. And I started calling your name, and suddenly you were hugging me and kissing me, and I could smell your smell, and I couldn't stop crying. Because I wanted to live and be with you. I wanted to comfort you, to share whatever life we had left. But it was too late. I died in your arms. At least we shared that, didn't we?
Maiden Neck was first. I worked in a storage unit searching for valuables on the clothes of the dead. The SS took the gold and the diamonds and sent it back to Germany. One day, I hid in a cattle car full of women's coats, and I escaped. Next was the forest. I wandered around for 3 weeks until I finally stumbled upon a Polish partisan group. They hated the Germans, but they hated the Jews more and tried to kill me, but I escaped from them too. Next was Budzen. I tried to escape from there, but the Ukrainian guards, their dogs chased me up a tree. And I was marched barefoot back to my punishment, 70 lashes with a whip. Then came Flossenburg. It was in Germany, and there was nowhere to escape. We lived 500 to a barracks. We worked 12 hours a day. In the morning, we were fed a cup of ersatz coffee, and in the evening, a slice of bread and watery soup. We never bathed, and we never changed clothes. They called us inhuman. We were. One day, they suddenly evacuated the camp and sent us deeper into Germany. We called it the Death March. Anybody who stopped or slowed down was automatically shot. Then, the Americans caught up with us, and it was over. I weighed 80 pounds. I was bald. I had no teeth. But I was alive. When I was in the camps, I was sure the Germans would succeed with their plan. That by the time this was over, there would only be about 5 of us left. 10 at the most, but probably just 5. And when we were found and fed, we'd be put into a museum, a Jew museum, a big brick building in the middle of Europe, where people would file past and look at the last remnants of an extinct species. There were more than 5 of us when it was over, but I still feel like I'm in a museum, except the rest of the world is preserved behind glass, and I stand here, separate and alone. And I can't help but ask, why is it that they're gone and I'm still here? Where did they go? When I went back to the ghetto, there was nothing, not even a street sign. In Treblinka, only stones. And in Auschwitz, only chimneys and barbed wire. And I can't help but ask the question, why me?
Forget about school. Let's go down to the depot and hang out with my dad.
Yatsik, Mama said you had to take me to Saxon Gardens.
Guess what? My pop is teaching me to play chess. Maybe we can play sometime.
And I'll never know why. But all I can do is tell our story.
Can you believe it? I got my first solo in the choir. You better be there.
Yatsik, I have a message for you from Helena.
All I can do is rejoice in their memory.
You want to come over for Shabbos dinner? You can see how the other half lives.
My parents said no, but I'm coming anyway. I'll meet you at the movie theater at 2 o'clock.
All I can do is keep them alive in me and in you.